You don't belong here. Leave before I call security." Within minutes, a simple woman was humiliated, insulted, and thrown out of the luxurious resort under the cold, judgmental eyes of hundreds of guests. But what they didn't know, just 2 hours later, a $150 million 0-cents yacht would dock at their marina. And the woman they had just scorned was the true owner of the gala they were so eager to attend. Stay tuned because this epic twist will leave you speechless. Amelia Brooks stepped onto the marble floors of the Peninsula Resort, her simple beige dress a stark contrast to the glittering chandeliers and opulent decor surrounding her. She tucked a strand of brown hair behind her ear, observing the other guests in their designer outfits and sparkling jewelry. After a 30-minute drive from the local boutique where she'd been reviewing donations for her foundation's auction, Amelia had come straight to the resort to check on preparations for tonight's gala. She preferred handling these details personally, just as she had when she ran charity events out of her grandmother's basement years ago. "I'm here to check on the arrangements for tonight," she said to the receptionist, whose smile faltered upon taking in Amelia's modest appearance. "Do you work for one of our guests?" the young woman asked, her voice dropping to a whisper. Amelia smiled softly. "No, I'm attending the charity gala this evening, the Brooks Foundation reservation." The receptionist's fingers clacked against the keyboard, her brow furrowing. "I don't see your name here. Are you staff for the foundation?" "I'm actually the founder," Amelia replied calmly. "My husband Ethan should have called ahead. He's arriving by yacht later." A man in an impeccable suit approached, flashing a tight smile that didn't reach his eyes. "I'm Victor Harrington, the general manager. Is there a problem here?" His gold name tag gleamed as he leaned forward. The receptionist leaned in, whispering something that made Victor's eyebrows rise as he assessed Amelia from head to toe. "Ma'am, this is a private resort. The Brooks Foundation Gala is a prestigious event. Perhaps there's been some confusion." Amelia maintained her composure. "There's no confusion. I'm Amelia Brooks. My husband and I—" Victor's laugh cut her off. "Excuse me, Mrs. Brooks is a prominent philanthropist, married to Ethan Brooks. She wouldn't be arriving unaccompanied and dressed like—" His gesture indicated her simple attire. "I have ID," Amelia began, reaching for her purse. Victor waved his hand dismissively. "Please, anyone can print a fake ID these days." 2 security guards materialized at Victor's silent signal. Nearby guests began to stare, some whispering behind manicured hands. "Please don't make this difficult," Victor continued. "We can't have just anyone walking in claiming to be important guests." Amelia noticed a woman in a white blazer recording the scene discreetly on her phone. Perfect. Word would spread quickly. "I understand," Amelia said, her voice steady. "May I at least use your restroom before I leave?" Victor hesitated, then nodded curtly. "Make it quick." As Amelia walked toward the ladies' room, she heard him instruct the security guards, "Make sure she actually leaves. These gold-digger types are persistent." Inside the elegant marble bathroom, Amelia locked herself in a stall and pulled out her phone. No one else was around. She typed a brief message to Claire, Ethan's executive assistant. Code Cinderella at Peninsula Resort. 2 hours. The response came seconds later. Understood. Initiating protocol. Amelia smiled, slipping the phone back into her purse. She and Ethan had developed this system after the 3rd time she'd been dismissed because of her unassuming appearance. Rather than fight these battles with her name or wealth, Amelia preferred to let these situations play out naturally. The lessons learned tended to stick better that way. Exiting the bathroom, she found the 2 security guards waiting, arms crossed. "Ms. Whatever your name actually is," the taller one said, "Mr. Harrington has asked us to escort you off the property immediately." "Of course," Amelia replied calmly. As they walked through the grand lobby, Victor stepped out from behind the front desk to watch her departure, his eyes gleaming with satisfaction. Guests turned to stare at the spectacle, a simple woman in a beige dress being marched out by security. Perhaps next time you'll make a reservation under your own name, Victor called after her, loud enough for everyone to hear. We only host the Brooks Gala because Mr. Brooks is a valued patron. His wife is known for her exquisite taste, something clearly not everyone possesses. Several guests laughed sarcastically. Amelia didn't react, keeping her head high as they approached the ornate front door. "I'll be sure to pass along your hospitality to my husband," she said softly. Victor chuckled. "Yes, I'm sure he'll be quite impressed with your imagination, though I doubt he exists, much like your supposed connection to the Sterlings." They reached the entrance, and one of the guards gestured toward the taxi line. "Need us to call you a cab?" he asked, his tone suggesting she couldn't afford one. "No, thank you," Amelia replied. "I'll manage." As she stepped out into the warm coastal air, she heard Victor's final barb. "And don't think about trying to sneak into the gala tonight. We'll have your photo at every entrance." The doors closed behind her with a soft, expensive thud. Amelia walked unhurriedly down the curved driveway, feeling the eyes of the resort staff on her back. When she reached the street, she turned left and continued along the oceanfront promenade. She found a quiet cafe with a view of the harbor and ordered an iced tea, the perfect vantage point. Checking her watch, an understated piece that had been her father's, she calculated the timing, 1 hour and 40 minutes to go. Her phone buzzed with a message from Claire. "Ethan is furious, ETA 100 minutes. Package arriving in 20. Amelia sipped her tea, watching seagulls circle above the water. She wasn't upset. She'd faced worse prejudice in her life. Before meeting Ethan, she'd worked multiple jobs to put herself through school. She'd been dismissed, overlooked, and underestimated plenty of times. Ethan had offered to put an end to these situations by making sure everyone knew who she was, but Amelia had refused. "Those who judge books by their covers," she had told him, "deserve the surprise when they find out what's inside." Exactly 19 minutes later, an elegant black car pulled up in front of the cafe. The driver, a woman in a crisp uniform, stepped out and scanned the patio until she spotted Amelia. "Mrs. Brooks?" she asked quietly, approaching the table. "Yes, Elena, thank you for coming so quickly." Elena placed a garment bag and a small suitcase beside Amelia's chair. "Miss Claire said you needed these urgently. Is everything all right?" "Just a small misunderstanding that will sort itself out soon," Amelia replied with a smile. "Would you like something to drink?" "No, thank you, ma'am. I should get back." Mr. Brooks was quite determined when he called. Amelia nodded knowingly. Ethan's temper was legendary in business circles, though he never directed it at her or their staff. "I'll see you later then." After Elena departed, Amelia took her packages to the cafe's restroom. 15 minutes later, she emerged transformed. Her simple beige dress had been replaced by an elegant cream designer ensemble. Her hair, previously pulled back, now fell in soft waves around her shoulders. A delicate diamond necklace, Ethan's gift on their first anniversary, adorned her neck. She paid her bill, leaving a generous tip, and walked back toward the promenade. As she strolled past shops and restaurants, she noticed people's reactions had changed completely. Where before she had been invisible, now she received appreciative glances and respectful nods. Amelia checked her watch, again, just over an hour before Ethan's arrival. Time for the next phase of their plan. She dialed a number on her phone. "Hello, Martin. It's Amelia Brooks. Yes, I'm well, thank you. Listen, I need a small favor regarding tonight's gala." Martin Ellsworth was the resort's owner and an old friend of Ethan's. He was currently in Europe, leaving day-to-day operations to managers like Victor. Amelia explained the situation briefly, careful to emphasize that she didn't want Victor fired, just taught a valuable lesson. "Are you sure?" Martin asked, chuckling. "I could have him packing his bags within the hour." "No, that won't be necessary. Ethan and I have something more educational in mind." "Well, you two always did have a flair for the dramatic. Consider it done. I'll call Victor myself to prepare him for Ethan's arrival, though I won't mention you, of course." "Perfect. Thank you, Martin." Amelia ended the call and continued walking, following the curve of the shoreline that would eventually lead back to the resort's private beach. From there, she'd have the perfect view of the harbor, where Ethan's yacht would make its entrance. Her phone buzzed with a text from Ethan. "Almost there. Are you okay?" She smiled, typing back, "Never better. Victor has no idea what's coming." She could almost see Ethan smile as he replied, "Good. The Odyssey is ready for a grand entrance. Love you." Amelia tucked her phone away, continuing her leisurely stroll. The pieces were falling into place. Now all she had to do was wait for the perfect moment to return to the peninsula. Not as the simple woman who had been escorted out, but as Amelia Brooks, about to deliver a masterclass in humility to those who needed it most. Back at the Peninsula Resort, Victor Harrington was having the afternoon he'd hoped for. After successfully removing the imposter claiming to be Amelia Brooks, he'd personally inspected the ballroom preparations for the evening's gala. Everything needed to be perfect when the real Ethan and Amelia Brooks arrived. "Mr. Harrington." The receptionist's voice broke his concentration as he adjusted a centerpiece. "There's a call for you on line 1. It's Mr. Ellsworth." Victor's spine stiffened. Martin Ellsworth, the resort's billionaire owner, rarely called the property directly. "I'll take it in my office," he said, striding confidently across the ballroom. Once behind his desk, he composed himself before picking up the phone. "Mr. Ellsworth, what a pleasant surprise." "Victor," Martin's voice was uncharacteristically serious, "I've just received some concerning news. Ethan Brooks's yacht, the Odyssey, will be docking at our marina within the hour. I need you to personally ensure everything is ready for his arrival." Victor felt a flush of pride. "Of course, sir, we're fully prepared for the Brooks's arrival for tonight's gala." "This is different," Martin said. "Ethan is arriving early and he's not happy. Something about a misunderstanding at the resort today." The blood drained from Victor's face. "A misunderstanding?" "He wasn't specific, but he mentioned something about his wife. I assumed you'd know." Victor's mind raced. The woman he'd escorted out, could she have been telling the truth? "Sir, there was a woman earlier who claimed to be Mrs. Brooks, but she looked nothing like the photos in our system. She was dressed very simply, not at all what you'd expect." The silence on the other end of the line stretched uncomfortably long before Martin spoke again. "Victor, have you ever actually met Amelia Brooks in person?" "Well, no, but one of the reasons the Brookses chose our resort is because Amelia values privacy and discretion. She's not one for social media or society pages." Victor felt the first drops of cold sweat on his brow. But the photograph in our system is likely outdated or from a rare public appearance," Martin interrupted. "Victor, listen carefully. Ethan Brooks's yacht is 300 feet of floating luxury, worth more than our entire resort, and it's heading our way with a very displeased billionaire on board." By the time Victor hung up, his hands were trembling. He rushed to his computer and searched for images of Ethan Brooks, finding plenty of the business mogul at various events. But pictures of Amelia Brooks were indeed scarce. In the few he could find, he noticed a striking woman who carefully avoided the camera. The woman from earlier today had similar features, but without the designer clothes and professional styling, he hadn't made the connection. "Oh, God," he whispered, panic rising in his throat. He buzzed the front desk. "Get me information on Ethan Brooks's yacht immediately." Minutes later, he was staring at a printout of the Odyssey, one of the most recognizable super yachts in the world. Custom built for Brooks 4 years ago, it featured multiple decks, a helipad, and accommodations for 24 guests and 28 crew members. According to the tracking report, it was indeed approaching. Victor quickly called an emergency staff meeting in the lobby. "Listen carefully," he said to the assembled employees. "We may have made a grave error earlier today. The woman who claimed to be Amelia Brooks might actually have been Amelia Brooks." Murmurs spread through the group. "Ethan Brooks's yacht will dock within the hour, and we need to prepare. Isabel Green, contact the marina immediately. Nathan Cole, prepare the red carpet welcome. Lauren Hayes, champagne and refreshments at the dock. As the staff scattered, Victor stepped outside to scan the horizon. In the distance, he could just make out the silhouette of an enormous yacht approaching the coastline. Even from this distance, its size was impressive. His phone rang. It was the marina manager. "Mr. Harrington, you'd better get down here. The Odyssey has requested priority docking privileges. They'll be here in 30 minutes. Victor straightened his tie and took a deep breath. "Very well, I'm on my way." He would have to face Ethan Brooks himself and try to explain how he'd thrown the billionaire's wife out of their resort, unless he could find her first and somehow make amends. The Odyssey made its approach with unmistakable grandeur. At 300 feet, the custom-built yacht dwarfed everything else in the marina, its pristine white hull gleaming in the afternoon sun. Its arrival had drawn a crowd, resort guests, locals, and staff, all gathered to witness the spectacle. Victor stood at the end of the dock, a welcoming party assembled behind him, champagne chilled in ice buckets. A red carpet had been summoned up, every available staff member had been summoned. He'd even ordered the resort's signature floral arrangements to be brought down, anything to appease the Brooks family. As the massive vessel completed its docking procedures, Victor couldn't help but calculate the cost of the yacht. Easily north of $150 million, 0 cents, more than enough to buy the entire resort several times over. The man he'd have to face momentarily could ruin his career with a single phone call. The yacht's gangway extended smoothly toward the dock. Victor forced a smile, though his collar felt suddenly tight against his throat. Ethan Brooks appeared at the top of the gangway. Tall, distinguished, with perfectly styled silver blonde hair and an impeccably tailored navy suit, he exuded the quiet confidence that came with extraordinary power and wealth. His expression was unreadable as he descended toward the welcome party. Victor stepped forward, hand extended. "Mr. Brooks, welcome to the peninsula. I'm Victor Harrington, the general manager. It's an honor to—" Ethan walked past him without acknowledgement, his eyes scanning the crowd. The staff exchanged nervous glances. "Mr. Brooks," Victor tried again, hurrying to keep pace with the billionaire's long strides. "About earlier today, there seems to have been a misunderstanding." Ethan stopped abruptly, turning to face Victor with cool blue eyes. "A misunderstanding?" he repeated, his voice level but with an undercurrent of steel. "Is that what you call humiliating my wife and having her escorted from the property?" The whispers among the crowd grew louder. Several guests who had witnessed Amelia's expulsion earlier now watched wide-eyed, connecting the dots. "Sir, I can explain," Victor began, panic rising in his voice. "I'm sure you can," Ethan replied. But first, he turned and gestured toward someone on the yacht. The crowd fell silent as a figure appeared at the top of the gangway. Amelia Brooks stood there, transformed from the simple woman of earlier into a vision of elegance. Her cream-colored designer dress caught the sunlight, and diamonds sparkled at her throat and wrists. As she descended the gangway, the crowd parted. Those who had witnessed her expulsion hours earlier now stared in disbelief. The woman they had seen dismissed as a nobody was returning as royalty. Ethan extended his hand to her, and she took it with a smile. Together they turned to face Victor, whose face had drained of all color. "Mrs. Brooks," he stammered, I cannot begin to express how deeply sorry Amelia raised a hand, silencing him. "Mr. Harrington," she said, her voice carrying clearly across the now silent dock, "I believe we have a gala to prepare for this evening. Shall we continue our discussion inside?" With that simple statement, she established control of the situation. No shouting, no threats, no public humiliation, just the calm assertion of her rightful position. As Ethan and Amelia walked toward the resort, the crowd of onlookers spontaneously stepped aside, creating a path. Some even bowed their heads slightly in respect or embarrassment for their earlier behavior. Victor, left with no choice, trailed behind them, his career hanging by a thread. In the privacy of the resort's VIP lounge, Victor stood before Ethan and Amelia Brooks, his practiced confidence entirely gone. "Mr. and Mrs. Brooks, I am profoundly sorry for the inexcusable treatment Mrs. Brooks received today. There is no excuse for my behavior." Ethan's expression remained stern, but Amelia studied Victor thoughtfully. "You know, Mr. Harrington," she said, "I grew up in a small town in Ohio. My father was a mechanic, my mother a waitress. I worked 3 jobs to put myself through college." Victor blinked, uncertain where this was going. "I founded the Brooks Foundation before I met Ethan with just $5,000. 0 cents of my savings. Now we raise millions annually for educational opportunities for underprivileged children." She paused. "Children who, like me, might be judged by their appearance rather than their character or capabilities." The implication was clear. Victor lowered his eyes. "I don't want you fired, Mr. Harrington," Amelia continued, surprising him. That would be too easy. Instead, I have a proposal." Ethan smiled slightly, already knowing what was coming. "Our foundation needs volunteers for our mentorship program. Successful professionals who can teach young people about their industries. You'll commit to 1 year working with students from disadvantaged backgrounds." Victor nodded quickly. "Of course, Mrs. Brooks, anything." "And," she added, "tonight's gala will now include a new pledge. A scholarship fund specifically for hospitality management students from underprivileged backgrounds. The Peninsula will be funding the first year." Victor understood this was non-negotiable. "I'll speak with the finance department immediately." Amelia rose to her feet. "Good. Now, if you'll excuse us, we have a gala to prepare for." As Victor left, Ethan took his wife's hand. "Masterfully handled, as always," Amelia smiled. "Let's hope he learned something today." "About not judging a book by its cover?" Ethan asked. "About humanity," Amelia replied, "which is ultimately worth more than any yacht. In a world that often judges people by appearances or possessions, sometimes the greatest wealth lies in character and dignity." Amelia's story reminds us that true class isn't about what you wear or own, it's about how you treat others. Have you ever been underestimated because of appearances? Share your experiences in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story of justice served with elegance, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more powerful tales that remind us what truly matters in life. From which part of the world are you watching? Let us know in the comments.